a shattered glass is only going to be good for a limited period of time.
They don't look comfortable.
C9, they don't look comfortable playing from the sort of levels behind that they have been in these games. They have been the team that has been pressuring. They have been the team setting the pace and being proactive. They do not look comfortable coming from behind.
Araki Soro said it perfectly on the desk. The camera flipped over to Old School, and he looked a little bit down. He looked a little bit distressed, maybe at the kind of the handling that Tribe had them over game number 1. They just have to be able to recollect their thoughts, rinse, reset, play this like a brand new game, a brand new series. T-Tigers 1v3ing that Cloud9. No word in. Old School's even going to get punished here a little bit as well. They're going to be able to stop him from moving up towards this turret to get a little bit damage down onto it as well. 3 members versus 1. That's just going to go down instantly. No worries. First turret to try.
T-Tigers did such a good job of zoning out Old School to make it very difficult for him to find an easy path back to that turret. Joseph and Gabe Bizzle had back. They gave that turret up for free. Cloud9 knew they couldn't contest it. This is a massive gold advantage opening up now at just 8 minutes. 3,500 almost in the bank. In advantage of Tribe. And it's just because Cloud9 have been unable to contest anything of any value, including their own front camps.
It was 5,000 gold lead. It was 5,000 gold lead. It's 13 minutes into the game. That's exactly where it's heading for right now. Like we mentioned a couple of minutes ago. This seems like exactly the same game as where Tribe just take complete control of Cloud9's jungle. This life buff isn't just a life buff anymore. This is Tribe showing up to a new level we've not seen them before. Cloud9's first loss was last game. Tribe do not seem to be they don't seem to be letting off the gas pedal anytime soon.
Really need to think of something. C9 really need to think of something. If this goes to a game 2 to Tribe, they need to think of some way to put pressure on T-Tigers. He's basically stamped himself as the most dominant and aggressive jungler here at the World Championship. And even I Love Joseph, who is known to have great control in the jungle, known to be super aggressive, known to have one of the best jungles in North America. He's getting almost manhandled by T-Tigers. The entire Tribe roster has put C9 into a position that they haven't been in before, and it's made them look very uncomfortable.
They're going to go for an engage. DNZO over the wall, using that into the fray. Corner gets laid down. No one's going to get stunned up just yet because they want to fight in melee mode. Red Mist is going to get opened up. There's the Divine Intervention to keep him alive. DNZO refusing to go down. T-Tigers dodging in and out of the bush, trying to find Old School. He splits up. Crystal Sentry goes down in the middle of that as well, but T-Tigers fall. Cloud9, they're going to turn it around. They find one, but instantly DNZO cuts down Old School. 1 kill, 2 kills, 3. DNZO with the triple kill and the ace.
Unbelievable. It looked like C9 had brought that back, but DNZO, you can never count out a Rona just spinning in melee range. Let's take a look at that again. It was a really nice engage by Tribe. Immediately put Old School into a position where he has to kite backwards. They keep them locked in that gauntlet, and they're actually able to get out of it. But watch this. Watch this. C9 are kiting around. The fountain comes out. Obviously, now T-Tigers on the outside is looking to put pressure onto Old School. He's cutting backwards. They missed a couple of basic attacks there, but they eventually take T-Tigers down. At this point, DNZO has built up a ridiculous amount of stats. He's been able to get a huge amount of sustain out from that Serpent's Mask, and he's kind of being unnoticed and untouched throughout that fight. That is what happens when you leave a Rona to her own devices, especially with a breaking point.
That was absolutely ridiculous. DNZO is a monster at 4-0. Like you said, it looked like it was going to be their fight, but they need to be able to stack those mortal wounds a lot quicker. They just can't, because Old School is just constantly kiting backwards, trying to get away from the Red Mist, but DNZO has so much chase, and so does T-Tigers. T-Tigers right now feels like a little bit of a scapegoat. They want to be able to focus him to take him out of the fight, but they're ignoring DNZO.
Exactly, and it's very difficult to take DNZO down, especially alongside a Grace. Grace used her Divine Intervention on DNZO that last fight, that kept him healthy, that gave him more room to breathe. And then when T-Tigers jumps in and out, it's so difficult as a carry to know where to focus, especially when you're being dived by 2 heavy melee hitting heroes. So when T-Tigers jumps in, Old School switches his focus, that's when DNZO pounces. Then T-Tigers, being the kind of hero that he is on Koshka, he can get out of the fight really quickly, can jump back in with Pouncy Fun. It's very difficult to focus him down, it's so difficult to chase a Koshka. And now Echo gets finished up on Max Green. He's got that ability to get that double Divine Intervention down, especially powerful for both DNZO and T-Tigers, who are going to be in that out front line.
That is it. It's only going to get worse from here on out. Double divine intervention, even a broken myth finished for T-Tigers as well. So he is just chewing through the shielding of old school. And if you actually look at his build at the moment, he's only just upgraded to a tier 2 shielding. He recognises that you need that against T-Tigers. He's ripping you apart, even though that Koshka is fairly squishy.
And look at what Tribe have done again. This is something that they did last game. They really focused on the fact that the late game win condition for C9 has been old school on this box. Double Atlas Pauldrons. T-Tigers went for this before he even finished his broken myth. Grace has got one on Max Green, and T-Tigers has got one on Koshka. They dive in, double Atlas Pauldrons. They don't have enough blocks to block both of them, and also is going to be put out the fight for a limited period of time, which means that he's going to be unable to frequently stack or easily stack that breaking point, which really limits a teamfight win condition for old school, because he needs that attack speed to start stacking up that breaking point. So they're really focusing on the one win condition that realistically C9 have, which is this ability to kite away with old school, build breaking point stacks and make it very hard to chase him down. They're going to try and shut that down straight away.
Doing a good job of shutting him down already. However, he has got that breaking point online now as well. So the longer the fights go on, the harder he's going to hit. Fusion as well has been picked up. More importantly, to give him that added boost in the team fights. Try continue their domination of the jungle, refusing to let Cloud9 farm. And the Crystal Sentry only has 1 life left also. Not quite as quick as game number 1. Eliminated in about 9 minutes. But gold miner control as well for Tribe. We are 14 minutes into the game. It is a 6,000 gold lead. That's 1k over than their advantage in game number 1 as well. You can see it feels like even they're just snowballing from game 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Dienzio said to Dalsy this morning, he said, if we win game 1, we win the series. They're certainly playing like that is the case this time round. They have got a huge amount of confidence. I spoke to Dienzio right at the start of this tournament, and he said, we're going to win. No, we're confident. We're going to win this whole thing. Even through C9, the team that has looked the most dominant in this entire tournament, Tribe are making it look like child's play right now. It's crazy the difference in performance from C9 yesterday to C9 today, and Tribe are making it look that way.
Gabriel's picked up an echo.
Of his own. He's got that ability to get the double gauntlet down. That might be now harder for a very movement speed focused Tribe to negotiate their way through those double gauntlet walls. That might be a way to provide some barriers for old school.
Well, T-Tigers doesn't have a reflex block, but we do have a Crucible on Max Green, so he's going to have to rely on Max himself. Dienzio has got his own reflex block as well. So realistically, T-Tigers is just going to have to play around that. Again, permanently in their jungle. He's going to steal that away.
Oh no, Joseph got it. First one of the game, boys.
First one of the game.
Looks like they're going to go straight.
For this Kraken. C9 again. This is where they fell folly last time. They let this go. Gabe Bizzle's not going to let it happen this game time again.
Gabe Bizzle, they're going to jump straight with an old school. Gabe Bizzle was on the other side of the wall. He goes over with the Vanguard, keeping old school alive. Attack speed so cool, it gets opened up, but the cage is in the wrong place. He didn't even activate the Echo. He double Vanguarded its scoundrels, so there was no double cage to be fought in. And now they go straight back on the Kraken.
Yeah, and C9 have just got to back off. Joseph may be looking for a hero steal here. He might look for that on point. It can work sometimes. It's a decent amount of burst here.
It's a possibility. They're going to turn this around to old school yet again. He steps up to the plate. Aegis to actually slow his attack speed down. He's in a lot of trouble. Fountain to keep him alive, but he's slowed down by the shit still. Also, Red Mist onto 3 people. The 11 breaking point. He's third stacking up. He's already gone down. Make that 18, 19, 20 breaking point stacks, and Dienzio and T-Tigers clean up the carries of Cloud9.
And Cloud9 just too far behind. The Shiver Steel slowing old school down to an incredible margin, and it makes it so easy for Dienzio to capitalize and take him out.
You've got to feel like this
Rona is worth a ban at some point. It is tearing apart this Cloud9 composition. They're going to get the Kraken now. I don't even know if anything Cloud9 can do about it.
Crazy how
dominant Tribe look against one of the best teams in the world right now.
Knew when to pull the trigger because not moments ago, Gabe Bizzle blew the gauntlet. He didn't have that available to go for the disengage and the trapping in of Tribe. They're going to be able to unleash the Kraken. A little bit of extra gold as well. They're going to move up to the lane after they've taken their jungle. Also reminiscent of game number 1, 8,000 gold lead in the well. That gold graph is just going up and up and up for Tribe.
Cloud9 are going to have to
reflect on this game because Tribe have crushed that early jungle, and that has been the pain point for C9. The laning phase hasn't even been a thing because there really hasn't been a laning phase to speak of. The whole game has been fought around the jungle, and T-Tigers has absolutely dominated it. Joseph has looked dead in the water, and it might just be because these hero matchups that he's put on are really bad. Every hero matchup he's had right now has been a weak early jungle. Joseph needs to be on something stronger.
Well, T-Tigers gets the last pick in the draft as well all the time, so they can try and counteract that. Benediction in, they're going to get it 10 speed slow as well onto Old School. His damage is going to get reduced in that regard. Joseph going fairly low, has to back off. Kraken opens up the base. Divine Intervention on DNZO to keep him nice and healthy, and he uses the Echo to make sure he has that available in the next fight. Gauntlet gets laid down, DNZO going very low. Silence comes out from the way for it, but the Divine Intervention keeps him alive. Red Mist chewing up 3 people. There goes the first time. Second one's going to be on the menu. They get the kill on it to DNZO. They have to back out. T-Tigers running, pouncing away. Max Green falls as well. Nice little bounty of gold for the Cloud9s. They kill the Kraken, but that turret is not on an inch of HP.
And they really need to be careful because there is a real possibility that Tribe can rush that if they don't keep vision up around this jungle. But it is a win for Cloud9 in one form or another. They defend their base. That is a massive milestone for them because they have lost every single team fight so far in this game. This is the first one they've actually come out on top, and admittedly Tribe overcommitted to winning that game right there, but credit to Cloud9, they managed to bring things back. Old School now working towards what I imagine is going to be a Sorrow Blade. I was wondering whether he would think for something like a Bone Saw, but Rona hasn't picked up any armor. Rona has gone for a triple offensive item build, so then Old School realizes Rona being the biggest threat to him, one that's going to stick to him the most. He doesn't exactly need that Bone Saw, which is why he sold that Swift Shooter early on and switched up for a Heavy Steel going towards the Sorrow Blade.
Cloud9 only just managed to get that first tier turret. They've got four more in their way in order to take down Tribe in this game number 2. But Tribe right now, they're on a high and they're not willing to come down from the peak.
You are starting to see Iron Spikes picked up here for Cloud9. You've got a full build Vox almost now. He just needs to finish up that metal jacket and his boots. Will need to refresh his infusion before the next fight, so it's important that he gets some farm under his belt. Joseph has picked up his Aegis. He's picked up 2 items. He's got a bit of armor. Things are starting to even out. You know, gold differences at this point in the game are going to mean less and less because the core item spikes have been hit. But check out T-Tigers. He's picked up another Crucible, realizing the double gauntlet is super important to be able to navigate through. They are going to get 2 Crucibles to make sure that it's easy for them to find their targets.
Fantastic itemization because he doesn't really need the damage. They know DNZO is the one that's going to output the most with that Sorrow Blade pickup. Not something we normally see from the Ronas either because they normally itemize in defense, relying on that breaking point stacking up to around 20 in order to get out majority of
He's looking for heavy burst damage with this Sorrow Blade. I mean, he's really looking to take that one opportunity to blow Old School up as quickly as possible. The only problem is that he is weaker to Old School now, not having any armor in case. C9 here comes the gauntlet.
There's the gauntlet, gets laid down, the cage has been set, the fight has just begun. Does use that Crucible, that Echo is actually going to go onto a Vanguard. Yummy Candy Friends on the front line. Okay, Bizzle is so low, Fountain pops, but doesn't keep him alive. DNZO receives the Divine Intervention, T-Tigers moving forward. Old School's got 17 breaking point stats. He blocks the Atlas Poultries as well. Max Green going low. T-Tigers jumps back in. Red Mist opens up. One kill. He gets 1 kill. They're so low. DNZO has to back off. Max Green so close to going down. DNZO falls to Joseph, and Cloud9 win a back-to-back fight.
Old School, the greatest laner of all time on his box. He hits his item spikes. He takes the fight. That was the best team fight I have seen at this World Championships. Gabe knows they have to start the engage. He takes that bright land that they don't get through that gauntlet straight away. It gives Old School so much time to kite back and find a good position. The yummy catnip frenzy used onto Gabe. They spend all their resources taking him down, but Old School is just stacking and stacking and stacking, and then he blocks the Atlas. The most important part of this entire fight is the Atlas block that allows him to maintain that attack speed, maintain that damage, and somehow keeps himself alive, running straight through DNZO's Red Mist. What an incredible fight. Is this the turning point of the game, Jaws?
7 kills apiece. This might be the turning point. They are 6,000 gold behind, but the Kraken is on their side. Tribe now have to be able to take it out. Gabe Fizzle lays down the cage.
Max Green goes in with a benediction, another cage gets laid down. Look at the maneuvers they can do. DNZO's on the back line already. Trying to intervention, tries to heal him up. Another interference onto Joseph, and Old School still trying to fight back. He's doing it! He's going to do it again if they're not careful. Red Mist to heal him up, but he goes down. Team Tigers is going to fall as well if he's not careful. Double Holy Nova. They trade 1-for-1 as Joseph and DNZO fall down, but they're going to chase Max Green. Old School, 20 breaking point stacks, manages to take down Max Green in a couple of seconds. Kraken still marching on the base. Could this be the turnaround Cloud9 are after?
T-Tigers is there, defending against him, but the Kraken is starting to push in. Cloud9, they're a long way away from the base. Old School doesn't have much energy. This might be a heroic defense from T-Tigers here. Gabe is pushing in, but I don't think they've got enough time to deal with this. T-Tigers should get it.
Oh my word.
Oh my word, and DNZO has made the right choice. He sold the Shiver Steel for the armor. It has been too easy for Old School to burst him down at this point in time. This is the late game win condition against a heavy melee composition that C9 have got. Vox is good into these heroes for the reason that he is one of the most mobile ranged carries in the game. It's why he's retained popularity through metas and updates and changes. Vox is always in the lane simply because of that mobility. It makes him so hard to chase down in some instances. They've lost the Shiver Steel, so they're not going to be able to slow him down as much, but now DNZO is going to have some form of defense against Old School, which is, I think, at this point necessary.
Cloud9 the last 4 minutes have managed to win 2 team fights back-to-back, take the Kraken, and even the turret score as well. Only one turret stands between each team of taking game number 2. This next team fight will decide the game.
A series, even if, regardless of the outcome of this game, it has already lived up to everything this semi-final should be. 2 North American Titans swinging their punches. Cloud9 defend from a single Vein Crystal turret remaining with probably 5% HP left on it and have fought their way back to equal standings in terms of those turrets.
That's why you can never count out Cloud9 either. They are the true titans of North America. Tribe are ready to dethrone them. They did so in game number 1, but the ability to actually play back from such a deficit is what Cloud9 really are showing they know how to do. Kraken comes up from the depths as well. Is ready to be taken.
I love the way that Gabe's been playing. He's been aggressive with those gauntlets. He knows that they have the advantage in these team fights. He's got the Shiver Steel to slow things down.
Benediction in, there's the first corner, they get the attack speed, so onto Old School, and there's another corner as well, separating them, but DNZO's on the other side now, he's on top of Old School, he needs to be able to take him out, Yummy Cameron Frenzy, straight on top of Gabe Fizzle, and he's going to fall down first, 2v3, but already Old School breaking point stats nearing 15, DNZO tries to get a bit of room, Old School going really low, T-Tigers refusing to let him go, out of the claws of the cat, War Treads popped by Tribe to try and get a bit of distance, Elder Train almost actually just stuns him up, Holy Nova onto 1, it's still so close. DNZO jumps back in, but Old School manages to cut him out. Double kill from Old School. He's going to make it the ace as well. Triple kill for the best laner in North America. An ace for Cloud9.
There's a reason he's called Gold School. It's for plays like that.
This is that
late game Vox that works wonders against heavy melee compositions. The focus from Tribe has been Gabe. Gabe happily absorbs that damage because Joseph and Old School are left to run free.
Another turret goes down from taking 0 turrets to losing 4. We have Cloud9 taking game number 2 and evening the series 1-1.
Questions were asked. Questions were asked about Cloud9's ability to recuperate from a loss. Questions were asked whether they could play back from a deficit. It looked like in the first game they didn't have the resolve, the mental fortitude to do so. But they turtled. They held on. They found a singular team fight off the back of that Kraken push from Tribe. And they brought the game all the way back from no turrets taken from that point to every turret and the Vein Crystal. They needed to get to that late game, and they did. Suddenly, we're going to look at Cloud9 in a completely different light. They can take the early game, but they can come back from a deficit.
Tigers with the domination control in the early game, but Cloud9 take game number 2 to tie the series up. This series is going to be a long one, I think. Game number 5 on the horizon. We're going to jump over to the desk, however, and they're going to break down the Cloud9 win even more.
At the start of that game, it felt like maybe Tribe had Cloud9's number. Maybe this was going to be a one-sided series, but Cloud9 say, oh no, you don't. Once they got to the late game, they powered through those team fights, and they showed Tribe that these early game compositions, they're not everything that happens in Vainglory. You can play for the late game.
Yeah, no, you can definitely play for the late game. I mean, once Tribe didn't finish the game with the first Kraken push, that's when they lost the game, because if you're not able to close out the game, it means your opponents have stalled long enough to get to their levels 12, to get to the full item builds, and that's when they become stronger. What an incredible performance from C9 to tie this game.
I don't know if it's 100% fair to say that that's when they lost the game, because they were on the verge of taking that final team fight. Just slight misstep costing them the team fight in the end, but this was such a great game.
All right, we have a lot to talk about in this segment and not a whole lot of time to do it, so I'm going to jump straight into our first replay of that one. This was the pivotal moment of the game where Cloud9 won their first fight. Suijay, talk me through what happened.
This is crazy. Yeah, this is crazy. The comeback here. They're under Kraken. Their focus gave Vizzle here. You can see Koshko lands a stun. Max actually misses his Holy Nova. They land on Gate Vizzle, but look at Old School. He is constantly stacking those breaking point stacks. The Poison Shift is doing so much work against the Divine Intervention. And look at the team fight and the focus here. He blocks the Atlas. That was just insane. And then Tribe makes a decision to go in, but they don't get the kill. Also, look how low he is. They don't get the kill. They focus instead the Black Feather, and then Dianzo here should have just ran away, but he didn't.
Usually when you kill the enemy captain, you're going to be in a great spot. But the difference was, usually when you get the kill on the enemy captain, the other two carries are about half health. The two carries for Cloud9 were full health, while everyone for on the side of Tribe was half health, and they were able to turn it around.
I mean, this is a game I was on the edge of my seat. I mean, at 10:30, Tribe won a fight fighting at Crystal Century. That's how dominant Tribe was playing in the early game. It was insane, and then that one fight turned it around, and then every other fight after that, Cloud9 was the team that won.
And the fights, even with Cloud9 winning them, were still so close. We have another replay of what happened right at the end of the game. The final team fight that we saw coming on through was just insane to watch. Zora, I want you to talk me through this one, because this was very close to going south for Cloud9. This fight definitely could have gone the way of Tribe.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the team fight that Tasty was touching on earlier. When they were fighting, they almost got so close, as the replay will come shortly onto your screens. They got so close to winning it, but the Treant ended up locking down Rona, locking down Zia, rooting him in place, so that Vox and Old School could finish the team fight. Unfortunately, it's not coming out just yet, but going back to talking about how C9 scaled through the early game, they were able to secure their camps later on in the game. Tribe did a much better job the first time. Okay, we have the replay. The team fight starts in lane, so Gabe starts with the first gauntlet, allowing his team to kite away. The second gauntlet drops. He makes a mistake of actually getting out of the first gauntlet, so it gets removed, but it doesn't matter. The second one's still here. They focus Gabe once again. Tribe does that, and Vox, Old School stacking his breaking point. They chase Rona here to finish the kill, then they realize that she's a little too far, so the breaking point stacks keep on accumulating for the Old School. He approaches, and this is when the Atlas lands from Max Green. It was incredible. You can see Rona spinning. The root had it not landed, it definitely would have been Tribe's team fight, especially because of that Atlas that Max Green managed to land onto Old School, but the triple kill coming out at the end there, and then the push to finish the game. What an awesome back and forth team fight.
You always hear EU Treants, but SCA Treants impacting a world game here. Just so close again. And a lot of this also has to stem back to the early game. We haven't really touched on that at all, but Cloud9 expecting the aggression from Tribe prevented a lot of those early kills that we saw go over in game one.
All right, it's important that we keep this moving and get towards the next draft. So just quickly, we're going to take a look at the damage that was done during this game, because I'm pretty sure Old School is going to be topping that table. He was on the edge of just about every single team fight. He was just dishing out the damage, building up his stacks, and there is 57,000 damage done. That is absolutely insane.
Yeah, that's because Rona didn't have armor until the very end when Zia realized I needed to get a metal jacket. And also, he didn't have Bonesaw. Old School had metal jacket. So it was really hard for Rona to do as much damage in terms of trading with the Vox here. You can see why Vox is so good into Rona, because he can kite and dance around the Rona. And it was amazing. One thing I want to mention is with Grace, I felt like with Divine Intervention, you gotta go in. It gives a damage, almost a 50% damage reduction. So I feel like those ults should have been done earlier, and Zio should have stayed in the fight when it was channeling.
All right, it is time to jump into our draft for game number 3. It's time to continue this series as we are now one apiece between these two North American powerhouses, and we'll see who is going to be able to take the advantage in this series. Cloud9 banning away the Vox. That is not something they want to give over to Tribe, but apparently also not something they want to first pick.
Yeah, and that's very surprising to see because so many times in the past we have seen them first pick the Vox, but not willing to go for it. Instead, they want to take the Rona away from the NZO.
I was gonna say Skywalker was gonna definitely be the pick for Tribe. They banned it multiple times when they went for the Rona. So in their mind, this is the perfect counter for the Rona pick. It's gonna be played in lane on the NZO as a weapon power hero, and they're just gonna try to kite around the Rona, stay away from her, and dance around her.
Absolutely. Cloud9 right here saying anything you can do, we can do better. We'll see if it's going to work out for them, if they're going to be able to lay out on the early pressure. But we saw Sky banned out earlier on in this series. That was the first ban for Tribe when they were on the A side, I believe. So we'll see how that's going to change things coming on in. The Black Feather will be banned as well.
The live rest still open here, and if C9 don't ban her, I'm pretty sure Tribe will come through.
Yeah, I think Arden is also huge because Arden, the double gauntlets with the Echo, is going to keep Sky alive and basically give her those barriers so that a melee hero such as Rona, potentially a Taka or Koshka, can't really get onto her. So this is a huge priority, I think, for Cloud9 to ban, or maybe they're going to say go with the Lyra, and then Tribe probably will take the Arden here.
I think Arden would be the best ban here. If you give it over to the Rona, you're going to be going up against the composition you played in the first game, which you won with, the Rona, the Arden, and then they can get a CP jungler with it, like the Razer, like the Alpha potentially. So Arden, very likely the pick here for Tribe, unless they want to pick up the Koshka and play very aggressive. No, it's going to be Arden.
Yeah, they want to save that last pick for a potential counter pick, and again, take the Arden away from Cloud9. His gauntlet placements were incredible in Game 2.
All right, well, now we have to ask the question, is the Grace going to come out again? Could this be something like a Lorelei, though? We have seen that in recent games.
Could be Lorelei with Koshka, Grace with Koshka, or even Fortress with Koshka. Because Fortress with the Wolves does give Sky really hard time, and also even Pedo honestly gives Sky a hard time because her pets can get in the way and stop the forward barrage damage from hitting onto Rona and the team.
And the Lorelei is a pick that we've seen banned by Tribe in the first 2 games, but it is going to be a Fortress coming through. Now the question is just going to be, will it be a Crystal Fortress or a Captain Fortress? This last pick is going to determine that.
It's going to be Captain Fortress and probably, I would say, Pedo or Koshka here. That's going to be a really aggressive composition that Tribe needs to pick because they can't give Cloud9 can't give Tribe a stronger early game composition.
We'll have to see where they do go with this one. They're starting to run low on time. And this is one of the things about the drafts for this series so far. Both teams have been burning through that bonus time. They know how much is resting on their shoulders. Both teams wanting to represent North America in the grand final.
One thing I want to talk about is Old School, as you see him on your screen right here. He got focused again in the early game by Tribe, gave up first blood and then gave multiple kills afterwards. But props to him, he came back huge later on. He definitely maintained his focus, came back mentally, and carried his team through.
Yeah, that was a good pick by Cloud9 because if they did not take the Koshka, Tribe would take the Koshka and run a Weapons guy, and that would be a very strong early game into the Rona composition.
Also, the bravado of Cloud9 to take the Rona Koshka when they had just beaten a Rona Koshka, saying to Tribe, you ran this, we're going to do it better.
Absolutely, and now Tribe, they have to decide what can we do against this early game aggression. What can we do to shut this down? They've already got the Sky. Do they go full range composition here, or do they go something they can fight toe-to-toe?
Well, they don't have the CP Black Feather to go for. If they're gonna pick anything, or if they're ever gonna pick a Rhyme, this would be the scenario to pick it. You've mentioned it multiple times to Weekenders in the past. They need something that can hold the early game aggression versus the Koshka. So perhaps even a Cruel is a possibility.
I think the best option is probably Pedo. Cruel, Rhyme would be okay, but Fortress, the Mortal One's going to counter that so hard, and it's going to weaken their fortified health and their sustain. And that's why Fortress good. You cannot play a Baptiste, you cannot play a Rhyme, you cannot play a Cruel, because Koshka Fortress is way too strong. And they're going to go with a Baptiste. This is a little risky, I think, from the side of Tribe here.
So much of this is just about trying to prevent the hard dive that can come out from Cloud9. That's the entire purpose of this Baptiste pick. The only only reason they go for here is to deny the heavy dive composition.
That's kind of been the story of Batiste here at the World Championship as well. Just about every time we've seen it picked up, it's for its utility. It's about time that we jump into Game 3 of our semi-finals here. It's one apiece. Who are we voting for? We'll start with you this time, Sweet J.
I think Cloud9 won, Jack, because Koshka 4 just counters a Batiste really hard, and Tiger's going to have a hard time, so I think Cloud9 won.
Cloud9 won.
The Rona is very strong, but I actually like the Batiste here. I think Tribe will be able to find a way to deny the
One apiece, Iraqi decider.
While I would give the draft over to Tribe just because of the Batiste. Fearsome Chase works really well against the dive. I'm going to go with Cloud9 since this team, when it gets rolling, it's really hard to stop it. So after winning that game, I'm expecting them to take it as well.
It's a momentum game for Iraqi Zara. It's time to jump into game number 3 of this series. It's time to see who will take an advantage. Let's pass it over back to our casters for Tribe versus Cloud9.
Thank you very much, Munchables. Jaws and Sandro back at it again. Game number 3. My heart can't really take anymore, I'm not going to lie.
I gave you some sedatives, Jaws, it's fine. Calm you down a little bit. That was a crazy game, but it's been amazing to watch so far in this best of 5. This is an interesting draft. I agree that I think Tribe actually won the draft. I think Batiste was a good pick here. While Koshka Fortress can do well in stopping Batiste and telling sustain and jumping on him, he does have good shutdown with that Ordained. Ordained is classically considered a good ability into Koshka. She relies on her ability to negotiate the map with her movement speed, and obviously Ordained locks that down.
Here we go, jumping onto the fold for the 3rd time. Cloud9 this time taking away the Koshka from T-Tigers. Two of the best Koshka players in the world. Joseph now piloting it. We'll see how they want to play the early game. Cloud9 moving towards the Elder Trio. Or in fact, they're actually sticking.
Happy to take a fight, I'd say, at level 2 here. So they're happy to go for their back camp to meet in the middle this time round. First time we might see two teams for a while actually match up in the middle of this map, right at the very early phases of this game. I'm actually looking at Tribe, and I see Dienzio picking Weapon Power Sky, and I'm thinking that's a really good thing for Tribe in this composition. They've got great kite away, he's got great movement speed, he's really good at dodging his way around these sort of heavy dive compositions, and Dienzio plays a mean Weapon Power Sky. Tribe, I think, are in a good position here.
From the backs to the fronts, they do meet each other in the Elder Trio. This is going to be the first time this has happened. However, Cloud9, if they do jump on one target, that target will fall rather quickly, especially with Joseph's early damage on the Koshka.
They're just trying to wait around here. No one's really got that advantage in lane. Looks like C9 are very desperate to get hold of this early Elder Trio. It is a risky fight to take for either team, to be honest.
T-Tigers is building up those bad mojos as well. They've got to be very careful. Got to watch out for that counter. It doesn't like Tribe maybe looking for back I mean, the 2 to 3 minute stall. Are we going to see it? Are the minions just going to kill each other at this point?
Joseph's going to back off. He's going to go for his backs. They've already spawned. And it looks like T-Tigers is doing exactly the same thing. Both of them knew that their back camps, taking that on rotation is important. It looks like that Mexican standoff is just going to stand as it was. And it looks like they're going to head towards the lane.
2 shots fired. Up into the lane now. Old School and Dienzio will meet each other. Now the Sky, this is the first time we're seeing this in the best of 5. Minion can used by Old School fairly early on. It's kind of what we're seeing a lot of the time. Gavers are going very low though early on also. Max Green's damage. Sustainability on this Arden is not something to be
Arden's got a super high basic weapon power damage, so he really hits hard in those early levels. The clear speed from Joseph is just that much quicker. That means he gets to that Elder Trio a bit earlier. He also skipped his double backs just to get there in time as well. So he's now going to head back to base, probably pick up that now on rotation. He's thought it pretty much worth to take that Elder Trio and skip his backs for the time being.
Makes a lot of sense. More of that goal. We'll see if T-Tigers is going to do the same kind of game plan we've seen in the last couple of games, which is permanently camp Cloud9's front. However, this time around with T-Tigers on that Batiste, like you mentioned before, with the Ordained, perfect for countering Koshka's leap in.
Actually seeing an actual laning phase here, George. This is the first game of the series where we've had a somewhat semblance of a laning phase. No rotations, no heavy rotations in the jungle, and I think there's respect between Joseph and T-Tigers. They're looking for an engage.
The fray on to Dienzio. He's going to use that Suri Strike though, also taking a lot of damage. Joseph's going to march on forward as well. Take Max Green to about a 3rd HP. That'll just be that for the moment. But all the meanwhile, T-Tigers has been farming those fronts. But now Cloud9 are going to get the beneficial rotation down to the Elder Trio.
Looks like they're going to get
moving in. Ordain's going to come through. It's going to land on Joseph this time around. He does stay around for it. Elder Triad taken. It's going to get taken by Old School. They're still trying to push forward here. T-Tigers actually have to pop that flask as well. Interfray's going to be up in a couple of seconds. Also, Max Green going extremely low. Cloud9 deciding to back off right now. Those bad mojos, the empowered ones, are starting to hurt. Ordain onto Old School. Wrong place, wrong time. Into the frame, not quite up. He misses right into the wall. Dienzio with the reposition picks up first blood.
Oh, Old School's going to be hitting himself after that. He jumped straight into the wall with that into the fray. And that spelled his death. First blood over to Tribe. C9 lose their fronts again. T-Tigers has found that resurgence he needed to be more aggressive once more. He's going to take everything that he can from that C9 jungle. Maybe a little bit ambitious to take that kind of engage, especially when all of the healing flasks are up for C9, but they tried to put a bit of early aggression down, shut down by Tribe though.
Tribe's ability to just target focus is absolutely superb. You can imagine if Old School, even if he did make that, Dienzio could have repositioned with a Suri strike and take him down regardless. It was Cloud9 splitting up, or Tribe just wedging them so they couldn't actually move anywhere, splitting up in the 2-to-1. That really ended Old School's life. Shop has been open now, so Cloud9 are going to make that first rotation down there, but T-Tigers has hit at that level 6 a lot quicker than Joseph has.
The reflex block already there for Dienzio, so he knows needs to be able to negotiate his way around Yummy Captain Frenzy. There's no way that he gets hit by that. It's the only thing that's going to limit his mobility in these fights realistically. Wondering whether Old School's going to have to pick up a Shiver Steel this game, because we thought Vox was mobile. Sky is very much the same, especially as you can see Dienzio maxing Suri Strike. That's pretty common for Weapon Power Skies. It gives them that extra added mobility, and mobility is the name of the game. That's why you pick Weapon Power Sky. She just is able to dive and dart away from those melee divers like the Rona, the Fortress, and the Koshka.
Dive and dodge. The dodge will recognize.
I almost went for it, but a bit tongue-tied after the last game.
Do not blame me a thing. I'm just the same. Joseph has hit that level 6 mark and has got the aftershock now as well. This is the time they want to fight. Max Green on the Arden is going to be hitting level 6 rather soon also. He's got that fountain available. Now Tribe just need to play around that fact. And with the amount of CC like Araki was actually talking about, and the disengage potential from T-Tigers using that fearsome shade is so key for Cloud9 to block with something like a Crucible. So we'll see what Gay Fizzle does want to prioritize the second item. We are jumping into a brief pause, however. Like Cloud9. Couple little issues, but we should get those sorted rather quickly.
Old School's just having an issue on stage. Hopefully get it sorted out as quickly as possible. So, as you can take stock right now, obviously Tribe able to weather that early aggression. Josie hasn't really found an inroad. It's very difficult for a Koshka to be as aggressive versus a Batiste, because it's so easy for Batiste to lock her down. She can't afford to spend 700 gold going for a reflex block early on. You really need to rush that aftershock as quickly as possible. So Batiste can kind of slam that Ordain down, walk away, and you saw some of these massive hitting bad mojos during Reap were absolutely hitting crazy hard across all of the Cloud9 members. And that's one of the problems that Cloud9 are going to have. It's very easy for Batiste to deal with dive. He has the Fearsome Shade, he has the Ordained, and there's only so many reflex blocks and so many Crucibles you can deal with. You add Arden's Gauntlet in, you add a potential double Gauntlet in, and the longer this game goes, the better it favors Tribe. It's another one of those kind of games where C9 have to take an early to mid advantage. But I want to compare what C9 do in their games when they take an early advantage compared to Tribe. Tribe are taking advantages by 4 minutes. When we say that C9 take early advantages, it's not usually until the 8 to 10 minute mark where they start to hit certain power spikes and feel comfortable going for things like the Gold Miner or the Crystal Sentry.
Give it a wave.
Tribe. Huge amount of support from Tribe. I know Dienzio's mum comes to every single event that Dienzio goes to, and it's actually one of the nicest people I've met. She's so lovely. And she always supports Dienzio as well. It's just great to see him do so well in all of the tournaments that he's been in. He's kind of a legend of the North American Vainglory scene. Guy that last year he was so young, but it feels like he's almost like a veteran now. Like last year I remember casting him in the North American, I think it was the Spring Live Championships and the Summer Live Championships. And so the storylines that we had was, this is a guy that is so incredibly young but so incredibly gifted. He's still young, but he feels like a veteran because he's been to so many events now. And he's kind of like a massive in-game leader as well. You know, just has that kind of experience behind him. You've got Max Green and T-Tigers, they don't have that kind of experience.
He's showing us how to play Vainglory like a pro.
Of course. We're waiting, coming on next semi-final is going to be Impunity versus Ace Gaming. A huge crowd here in Singapore, ready to support their home team. They have played so well, but right now we have this battle of the North American Titans. C9 don't quite feel like they've hit their full sort of sixth gear yet. They've got a composition that's going to dive at some point, but haven't quite found the best opportunity to search for a fight right now.
Yeah, and that's what Tribe have been doing so well in these games, just taking the earlier fights and taking the early leads also, like you just mentioned. Their ability to actually force Cloud9 into an uncomfortable situation that they're maybe not used to, because being the kings of North America, winning 2 of the live championships back-to-back, you'd think most of the time they're not actually ahead and put in these situations, but Tribe doing just that, making them uncomfortable. And T-Tigers pressuring those front camps over and over again, off respawn. And the ability for Max Green as well to just support him, because Dienzio is such a reliable laner that he can handle himself, especially on something so mobile as the Sky.
Looks like things could be close to getting sorted out on stage, so we should be getting back into game ASAP. Got exceptions on stage, sorting things out. Right now, you look at the 3 North American teams that came to Worlds, and you say that Tribe are this sort of heavily mechanically gifted team. But sometimes we're considered to have slightly poorer sort of tactical approach to the game than things like C9 or TSM. TSM on the other end of the spectrum, where they are the massive tactical team with the great drafts, and C9 was somewhere in the middle. Tribe has stepped up in terms of their tactics. They've been able to rotate consistently well. They've been able to take their advantages, play to their win conditions. And C9 look like they've been getting better and better mechanically. That you couldn't ask for 2 more evenly matched teams here in a semi-final of the World Championships.
An unpause, Cloud9 and Tribe. They're in it. Here we go. We're back into gaming, Scoundrel. Enough waiting around. Now Tribe are just pushing in. That minion candy as well. When Dane comes out, it's going to be straight on top of Old School. He is taking under half HP. Joseph leaping in, but there's not much they can do right now. The range advantage is in Tribe's favour. This is something we talked about in these compositions last game. Cloud9 needs to be careful.
Those huge bad mojos. No shielding yet for C9. They're probably going to end up giving up this turret for free. The siege from Tribe is just too good. And that was a massive minion wave pushed in for Tribe as well. Dienzio going to get the finishing blow, and suddenly again early advantages go over to Tribe. I don't think that's good for C9. Tribe have got that composition in the late game. I feel like it's going to be just too difficult to stick to Dienzio. C9 need to look to take advantages in the next 4 minutes, or I'm really putting myself heavily in that Tribe camp. They've got such a good late game composition to deal with what C9 are bringing to the table.
The T-Tigers picking up that Shadow Glass. Big power spike for him. And you can imagine a clockwork or an echo being prioritized at some point also. A double fearsome shade is something to be scared about. Double gauntlet also from Max Green is something to kind of keep in mind if you're Cloud9.
It's a very impunity thing to do, having the echo on the sort of jungle Batista. I haven't seen many North American teams adopt that. I'd imagine T-Tigers work through a clockwork next. Maybe if they feel in the late game they need the extra peel, they will potentially consider it. But I just don't think they need it at this point. Like, 1 fearsome shade is probably enough. You have to have 1 crucible, but that's got to get you through fearsome shade and potentially a double gauntlet wall. Why not just have the extra damage and make it that much easier for Dienzio to clean up?
Makes a lot of sense. They're going to rotate down towards the item shop now, and T-Tigers going to do T-Tiger things and just take away those front camps. Cloud9 this time around, they want to be able to contest. They're sick and tired of not having that gold in their inventory. Old School is going to move forwards though, but a lot of scout traps will spot them out before they can realistically do anything, and Tribe back off. Max Green just hitting level 6 off that last couple of camps as well. Very important power spike for him. Okay, Vizzle at the level 6 mark also, but in all honesty, obviously the walls aren't going to be too much use. Mortal wound not being the biggest factor, especially when T-Tigers is not in at that reap stage.
Crucible's there for Gabe Vizzle. They might search for some sort of advantage right now, just simply because there are too many big power spikes being hit by Tribe, and C9 just haven't taken any advantages just yet. You have the breaking point for Dienzio. That's going to allow him to ramp up in these fights. You've got the level 6 with Dienzio. The Death Mirror so good at peeling away from a heavy dive composition, so good at shutting down things like Koshka and Rona once they dive onto you. Right now, T-Tigers has, like you said, got that Shatter Glass, and Max Green has picked up his own Crucible just to deal with whatever might be thrown at them. The only thing you really have to Crucible from C9 is that Yummy Catnip Frenzy. Everybody's got their own individual reflex blocks, but just in case, Max Green's got his Crucible as well.
This is what I like from Cloud9 now. They're retaking this part of the jungle from them that they've not had in the previous 2 games. Maybe that's their hinge to coming back into the series. I say come back into the series, it's one apiece, but coming back in the early deficit that they have been placed in. Only 1,000 gold separates, or just under now, separates Tribe and Cloud9. The smallest gold difference in 9 minutes that we've had in this entire series.
I've got to say, I'm impressed with the way that Tribe have responded to that previous game. If I were in their position, I'd be feeling really downtrodden that we had such... You had a 10k gold lead at some point, and C9 managed to bring it back, but Tribe have responded so well. Came back fighting, didn't let off on their early aggression, have looked to play around their win conditions once more, and C9 push onto this gold miner, heavily bolstered Tribe are going to look to contest it.
They are indeed. Max Green might want to pull that trigger on the gauntlet. They're going to go in. I saw Dane actually on to Joseph. Definitely come down as well. Game Fizzle doesn't get struck by it, but he's going incredibly low. Dienzio. So he strikes backwards, and he's going to be able to block the mechanic frenzy as well. They're still cutting back. Dienzio stacking up 11 breaking point stacks. Crystal Sentry's going to help him as well, but they do manage to cut him up. They managed to take the kill. Old School with 20 breaking point stacks ends up going down as well to a bad mojo. Max Green falling. A twirly death will kill him off. A 2-for-2 trade. Joseph and T-Tigers, both junglers, are just going to part ways, or at least T-Tigers trying to catch him up, but the cat is too quick.
Such a close fight. Obviously, Cloud9 playing into the territory of the enemy Crystal Sentry didn't help, but that was a lot of resources expended to kill Dienzio, and T-Tigers was just not touched. Let's take a look at that again. You can see here, Cloud9 trying to bait Tribe into a fight by starting up that gold miner. They initially put that pressure down onto T-Tigers. The block, or the ordained onto Joseph, stops that initial engage, and they have to sort of recoup and go back. They then push everything onto Dienzio. So watch all of them dive onto Dienzio here, all of the pressure going onto him. He dies, but T-Tigers is untouched. T-Tigers full HP, full energy, and if this was a longer fight and he had that ordained up, he would have been able to clean up the whole thing, and that would have been Tribe's fight to take. And the longer this game goes, the less amount of damage Costa is going to do to Dienzio. If Dienzio finishes up that Aegis, you're not going to see that level of damage coming out. So these kind of fights where it's Joseph able to take Dienzio out are going to be few and far between as this game goes on.
It was all down to Old School yet again, building up those breaking point stacks a lot quicker than Dienzio was able to. They kited back perfectly. Dienzio's positioning was extremely precise. Old School was just able to jump in there with a red mist, and the damage from the Serpent Mask as well was just too much. Gold Miner gets started up again, tried moving forward once more. Didn't use the gauntlet in the last fight, so that is still available to them if they so choose to use it. Ordain comes down, nice bad mojo actually. There's the fearsome shape, but it's going to get blocked. Apart from the Gold Miner who just runs away in fear. Nice stun into the death from above as well. The walls have been popped, but Joseph ends up going down. Gets cut up by Max Green. Dienzio repositioning with that Sorry Strike. He's just going to chase Old School. He has to be very careful. Crystal Sentry wants a word in, but Dienzio Sorry Strikes forward, but Old School getting the lifesteal off of the minions, but ends up going down regardless. They lose that Crystal Sentry, but they take 2 lives in the process.
Yeah, C9 basically cut their losses in the middle of that fight and said, let's just get the gold miner. Let's just take the gold miner. It's a huge amount of gold for the team, but they might end up losing a turret for it, which means Tribe are going to take yet another advantage. Joseph doing his best to defend here. Here comes K-Bizzle.
Max Green popping that flask. There's Yummy Candy Frenzy straight on top of T-Tigers. Death Rub comes down, separating the rest of the team. Joseph hasn't got many tools to work with now, but they've managed to clear out the wave and stop the turret push.
There we go, C9 recuperate from that team fight that went so badly wrong. Again, it's one of those scenarios where you have all of these heavy diving heroes and there are just so many obstacles to overcome. It's like an assault course that Tribe put down. First, you have to get through a wall that stuns you, then you have to get through missiles from the sky that stun you, then you have to chase up to a heavily mobile sky with a vanguard, not to mention an army of zombies that fear you, and an ordained that keeps you in a specific location. There are just too many things from Tribe that help keep Dienzio especially safe. For I think C9 to negotiate through with just 1 Crucible and 2 reflex blocks. It just feels like it's almost an impossible task. They have to find that initial jump on Dienzio and blow him up straight away. Old School hasn't gone for a Shiver Steel. He's actually working for a 3rd item, which is probably going to be a Sorrow Blade. So he's looking for that burst damage.
Well, it's going to be even harder now as Max Green has picked up that Echo. So not only is it 1 gauntlet, it's 2 mixed with this Shade. It's very hard. And like you mentioned just a second ago, Gets harder and harder for Joseph to actually do any meaningful damage. Same with old school. They have to clear so much ground and have to dodge out so much CC. They are going to go in, however, ordained onto Joseph. That's going to be pretty big. There comes the first corner. Second one activated as well. But it doesn't quite get blocked. In fact, Fearsome Shade does disengage Cloud9 for the time being. But Tribe, they're going to be able to follow this one up. Old school is very low. It's going to have to back here. They might just forfeit the turret.
They're going to have to. The disengage was just too good. Max Green didn't have to use Fountain or Crucible. Gabe Bizzle didn't use his either, but they realized there was no way they were going to get through that second gauntlet. They actually used the Crucible to get through the first gauntlet. And then that's why the Fearsome Shade was so good at disengaging. This is just a heavy kite and disengage comp from Tribe. And it's working wonders now. These big item spikes that you talked about, the Echo, the Aegis finished up, it just feels like it's now a very steep hill for C9 to have to climb to actually take Tribe on in one of these late game team fights. This is why I said that there wasn't enough early advantages gained by C9 to punish Tribe. And Tribe have a perfect composition once again. I think Tribe have done so well in draft across all of these games in the series so far.
That'll be all due to their support stuff as well, their support network. Cloud9 have the same thing, and that's why these teams can compete at such a high level right now. Crystal Century is going to fall, so Cloud9 taking priority on that one. I do believe that's the first one they've actually taken throughout the entire series, and it actually lands them in a position where they might be able to fight. If they do take out this Crystal Century, they're going to be able to fight in these small corridors. However, that's where Max Green and T-Tigers also want to rumble.
They get that Crystal Century, a little bit of gold in the bank before they have to start to think about Kraken. This is going to be where Tribe try and draw C9 out. Again, this is one of those scenarios that they've been trying to exploit throughout this entire game. And Tribe really do like to push that Kraken very quickly. They like to take it as soon as it's up most of the time. This time round, they're not in such a commanding position. They're definitely in the lead, but they're not exactly dominating C9 like they have been in the last 2 games. Still in the stronger position, though, I believe.
But the situation, they're in the exact same situation apart from that massive gold advantage. They were in game number 2 and even game number 1. Cloud9 haven't actually been able to breach a turret, while Tribe have 2 turrets down. And they also have, they've taken 2 turrets. And they have that just choke point turret to take out next. They're in exactly the same situation. If they can win the next fight, that Kraken will be theirs. It's 15 minutes just rolled over.
Joseph's confusion is nearly out. Let's get 100 more gold in the bank and he can refresh that. It's definitely going to need to be refreshed before this next fight. Old school should be okay. T-Tigers can work up towards his own. He's actually got it in his inventory. Dienzio has his own. So again, infusions, at this point in the game, it's so important to keep refreshing those infusions. They are worth so many stats for the gold value that they are. They're a limited time period, of course, but it's almost a necessity when you get to this stage in the game to have an infusion consistently refreshed, which makes it very hard to complete items because you're consistently spending 500 gold on infusions. They're going for a Crystal Century once more. That was a very aggressive and risky move by C9. They're going to get flared out. Can they get back?
They are. They did take that off spawn. T-Tigers looking to go for a flank. Dienzio doing the same thing. They know exactly where Cloud9 is right now. The minions in their favor also. They're going to go straight onto Dienzio. So he strike backwards. There's the nice mechanic frenzy, but it doesn't actually end up landing. Dienzio did block it. Double gauntlet used already. And a Fearsome Shade also to ripple them backwards. Dienzio just freely stacking on the back line. 9 breaking point stacks right now, but Max Green's falling very low. T-Tigers manages to just get a little bit of damage down. Gabe Bizzle is going to fall. Joseph goes down as well. Dienzio kiting round. Will he be able to get a third? He does! Another Fearsome Shade comes off cooldown and sends Old School to the grave. Dienzio finds the 2.
We might have said that Old School, the best laner in North America, I'm sure Dienzio has got words to say about that. You see how difficult it is, even when C9 take that engage, to get through to Dienzio. Gabe Bizzle jumps in. Look at the kite away from Dienzio immediately. He blocks the Yummy Captain Frenzy, gets up to turret safety, suddenly is no longer a target. C9 change their focus, start using that melee combat with the Batiste and the Arden to play into Rona's favor. But right now, it's just so difficult to get on top of Dienzio and stay on top of Dienzio. And he's building those breaking point stacks throughout the entire fight. Look at this, even when Old School finds that opportunity, even when he blocks things out, Dienzio still able to kite back with that movement speed that he gets in the lock-on, and those Suri strikes to help him reposition. This is just why Sky is good into these types of compositions, just like bots, but Sky does it a little bit better. And Dienzio loves playing Weapon Power Sky as well. He said it's one of the picks that he was looking forward to playing throughout this tournament. And it has been such an overrepresented pick here, especially by the North American teams. They love that Weapon Power Sky, and you can see why. So difficult to lock down.
Tribe have unleashed the Kraken as well. Not quite escorting it. C9 are going to be able to get a bit of free damage down onto it. They are just moving up the lane now as well to escort it. Remember that base has been broken already. They're going to go for an engagement. Nice twirly death. A nice ordained actually to lock the fortress in place. Gabe will actually get stunned. DNZO fighting back straight on top of Old School. Gordon gets laid up. Yummy Candy Frenzy is going to get blocked as well. DNZO still fighting back. 12, 13, 14, 15 breaking points back. Old School's going to fall. And already Max Green just trying to disengage him. Those Vanguards are good. No one can touch DNZO at all. But Ordained locks Joseph in place. And there's another kill. Another ace back to back by Tribe.
DNZO, the Sky Monster, held his Sui strike until the end of the fray came down, then Rona had nothing to follow up, couldn't get that foe splitter in. They're going for the win.
Tribe, they've got the Kraken on their side as well. First Crystal Turret falls, the second one to follow, and there shatters the Vain Crystal. Tribe are going to take match points against Cloud9.
And again, it was a draft from Tribe that really shut down C9. The Batiste was that perfect pick, stopped any early aggression that Koshka could have. Good disengaged against a heavy dive composition that C9 had planned. They needed to execute a bit earlier, they needed to be aggressive a bit earlier, but Tribe just wouldn't let them. And again, when it gets to the late game, Sky does exactly what you saw. It's so difficult for a Rona and a Rona to lock her down through all of and a Koshka to lock her down through all of that disengage. The Vanguards, the Gauntlets, the fearsome shades, the Ordains, the fearsome shades. There's too much to navigate, and C9 couldn't manage. Too much to navigate, and C9 couldn't manage.
They took the Koshka and the Rona, but they just could not make it stick. Tribe again, just fully in control from the get-go. It seems 4 men that are in control of the whole show, though. We've got Munch and the analysts over on the desk.
They have come out swinging. They have come out swinging in game number 3, and they have pushed themselves to match point between Tribe and the grand final now. And Cloud9, they're left to wonder what went wrong in this game.
Yeah, it was so crazy. The early aim aggression and minion candy. Tribe got the first turret, and they won an early game against a Koshka composition and Fortress. And the beautiful plays by Zio on this weapons guy. He's probably the best weapons guy I've ever seen play. The way he was cutting around the Rona, dancing around, and then Max Green and his Vanguards. You got to watch some of these fights. Those Vanguards were just on point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all of the players on the stage right now are playing out of their minds. This is an absolute joy to watch these games. But it definitely feels like the longer this series goes on, the more careful these two teams are playing. The first few minutes of this game, unlike the rest in the series, were very tentative from both sides of the scoreboard.
Yeah, I mean, I did predict C9 to win this game just because I thought after winning the first game, they would come in with a lot of momentum and just go out blasting. That's what their composition was meant to do. Play aggressive, snowball the game. Instead, they got shut down in the early game. And at that point, it was just too hard to execute their win conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have a replay of one of the fights that happened during that game. Tasty Bacon, I want you to run me through this one. As always, this was Tribe taking these fights. Tribe on top of things.
And again, you see Cloud9, they were the ones initiating this fight, but a great gauntlet did actually split them off just a little bit. Zio is able to stay so safe underneath this turret for quite some time. It felt like maybe they were going to be able to find that kill on Arden when he went back in, but a great job just kiting around with this weapon Sky, using the movement speed bonus from the lock-on to prevent the Koshka and the Rona from being able to have as large of a damage output as they potentially could have in that situation.
Just such a close fight as well, because if DNZO dies there, he went down to, what, 10 HP or something? If he dies there, that's the fight going the way of Cloud9, but because he survives, it flips over to the other side of the scoreboard. We have another replay of that game as well, another team fight that happened, and Tribe, in just about every team fight this game, they won them, but it was all so close, such narrow victories.
Yeah, you can see here, look at Zio. He got Atlas, but they're not on him. The Fortress is engaging, and look at how he's dancing around this Rona here. But the block from the Gauntlet was very nice, but look at Zio. He's just constantly dancing around, stacking up, and then Old School with the poison shift completely counters that Rona build and is able to get the kill and secure the ace here.
There's also the fact that the Fortress, you touched on the fact that the Gauntlet stunned up. He was also ordained earlier on, so he was just so far away from the rest of the team fight, wasn't able to apply the utility that Fortress can provide a team in a fight. The chase potential that we always talk about with a Fortress just wasn't there because Tribe was doing such a good job of locking him down so that Gabizzle just couldn't be with the rest of his team.
I mean, not only that, but the Sky Weapon power pick in the draft. We talked about it. I said that Tribe did win the draft. He said that as well. It's the fact that DNZO could have done that for days, literally. He could have just kept on kiting for days on days. And the thing is, C9, they came into the second game with a clear idea of playing to their win conditions. This time around, they didn't execute. Why change your strategy from a late game to an early game if you're not confident in playing it?
Honestly, it felt like both teams coming into game number 3 just couldn't, they felt like they couldn't afford to lose this game. It's on to match point now. That's the issue. And it felt like both teams were coming in very tentative. Let's take a look at the damage done in that game and see who was topping the tables for game number 3 of the series. It was, in fact, D'Enzio on that weapon Sky coming on through. T-Tiger's actually doing a huge portion of the damage for the team as well, more than I would have expected a Batiste to be doing.
Yeah, because when you bunch up against a bad Mojo, it does AoE damage, especially when he's in power. That ability does significantly more damage, and then the empowerment lasts a good 4 seconds as well. So that's where T-Tigers are able to get a lot of damage because they're constantly trying to overly dive Zeo and weren't focusing as much on Max Green or Tigers.
And again, one of the big stories of this game was just Old School not being able to output the damage on the Rona. When you start using the Red Mist, you get slowed down. If you're getting hit by a forward barrage from a weapon Sky, that's another slow. There's so many slows that were put into this composition to ensure that no matter where this Rona was, she was not going to be able to stick onto a target.
All right, well, I'm getting withdrawals at this point from gameplay, so we need to get on into the draft for game number 4 of this semi-final. All 3 so far have been so close. Tribe started things out strong. Cloud9 came back, and now Tribe are on to match point. We'll see as the draft comes on through if they can turn this into a victory. But what are we expecting to see here, Zora?
I mean, what I'm loving about this series so far is that both of these games are coming in, or both of these teams are coming in with their own meta. Yes, they're both from North America. Yes, they have very similar play styles. But you can see in the draft, the first game or the second game, C9 said the counter to Rona is Vox. The third game, Tribe said the counter to Rona is actually Sky. And both of these teams won with those picks. So it's very interesting to see slightly different metas clashing against one another. And both teams are very confident in what they believe in.
I think the strangest thing about this series thus far is that both of these teams have not won with the Koshka pick. And this is a signature hero for both of these junglers. So maybe something that is going to be moved away from as we round out this series.
Yeah, potentially that could be the case, but it is time for our draft. Here we go. Rona, the first ban coming out from Tribe. It's going to be answered by the Churnwalker. That's the only ban that's been consistent throughout the entire series so far.
Yeah, I love how Tribe switched it up because the last game they were in A-side, they actually banned Sky, and now they banned Rona. So their draft strategy has been much more damage. And look at that first pick, Koshka come right out. And that means if Batiste isn't picked, he could potentially be banned.
I mean, Koshka's the one that's sitting on 0-2, so I'm not sure if they're going to be changing this up even. I mean, they're obviously going to have to change it up even further because Rona is banned as well, but there's got to be some other strategy that they have up their sleeves if they're still willing to prioritize this Koshka despite the 2 losses.
I wonder if Cloud9 are going to first pick the Blackfeather right here because CP Blackfeather is one of the better picks against Koshka as far as securing those jungle camps. When she tries to invade, she tries to steal a tree and away from you, use your on point. If you do it in time or time it correctly, you're able to steal that camp away from her and continue on defending your jungle. So Cloud9, they do have the choice if they want to go that way.
Yeah, that's a little risky though because Tigers just plays his Koshka so well. In the game that Joseph was CP Blackfeather, he got completely dominated by Tigers Koshka. He had like almost double Joseph's CS. So I think in this one, Cloud9 may switch it up. Potentially maybe even putting Joseph on a Baptiste, which we haven't seen lately. So let's see what they decide to pick the captain here or not.
Let's also keep in mind, this is potentially match point. If Cloud9 do not win this game, they are out. So if there was ever a time to completely shake up your draft, right here is the time.
This is a Baptiste captain, not a Baptiste jungle. C9 back in spring in the Western Unified Championship, the way they countered the Koshka when she was the hottest pick was with the captain Baptiste that Gabe pulled out. And first picking it here, they're going to try to bait Tribe into thinking it's going to be a jungle Baptiste, and they're going to try to flex it later on in the draft.
Yeah, maybe they might give him a weapon Baptiste, right? Impunity played weapon Baptiste phenomenally well, and it can completely shut down Koshka and a Rona composition, actually. So let's see if that may potentially come up. But I think here, the Ardent or Fortress ban is going to come out because Fortress Koshka is just way too strong.
What I really want to see here is the return of Catherine Batiste. That's what I want to see Cloud9 go
Catherine
for.
Batiste.
You know, your back is against the wall. You need to pull something out. That huge CC lockdown.
It's really
even
strong
with the
against
buff to
Koshka.
Crucible, I think it could still make magic happen here.
It's really strong against Koshka because the multiple CC that comes out from that composition can lock her down for extended periods of time for your carry to focus her and kill her. She's a very squishy hero. If she's not able to dance around with her mobility, she's very easy to counter.
Yeah, I was going to say, she only gets that mobility when she connects with abilities. So if you can deny the ability usage from Akashka, then she becomes a sitting duck.
However, I think Lyra will probably ban her. Lyra Batiste is really strong together. That's a lot and a ton of sustain and protection as well. And with the Catherine Batiste, although it was such a strong comp in the previous meta, Crucible reflex block time got buffed to from 1 second to 1.5 seconds. And that's a huge counter to the double CC compositions of Catherine Batiste.
I mean, I'm still expecting Cloud9 to run this as a Captain Batiste. Let's not forget that. I think they're gonna go with the Vox pick right here and save their jungle pick for the last round so that they can flex the Batiste into the roam, leaving Tribe wondering, is it gonna be Captain? Is it gonna be
they're
jungle?
Gonna take Vox and leave Lyra to Koshka Lyra. I think that's extremely strong. Okay, there we go. They're gonna take the Vox. They're gonna take the Lyra here, and then that's gonna give Tribe the Vox with Grace, which is an extremely strong engage composition that you want to counter the Lyra heal. Especially Grace, I think, is a little better than Lyra in the late game.
They could also even run the Vox Fortress and just take Cloud9's, or sorry,
Fortress
Fortress's
ban.
ban. Just kidding. But they could go.
The Lorelei, though, I mean, if Tribe has ever practiced Lorelei and they were looking to run her coming into this tournament, this is about as good as it's going to get up an opportunity. The last game of the semifinals, it is a best of 5. If they win this one, they go to the grand finals.
There we go, Grace, and it's going to be a Vox probably, or an Adagio, because Adagio will counter the Vox with Adagio Shiv build, and then if Cloud9 picks Vox, that's
Zio doesn't look too thrilled about whatever
risky.
decision is being made right there.
Really?
He threw his hand up and walked away.
And then there's the Vox pick, potentially coming from Cloud9. If they pick Vox, it's a little risky because Adagio outranges the Vox. And it's a pretty solid pick there from Tribe.
I think what happened there is that Zio wanted the Vox pick instead of the Adagio pick, but his coach and his teammates thought the Adagio was the better choice for the team, so they decided to go with it. Not given Cloud9 the double heal composition with the Batiste, had they chose to go with the Adagio for
old school. Essentially triple heal when you think about it, because it's all focused around that Batiste. But yeah, definitely going to be something to keep our eyes on, though, is if that's going to cause an issue. If a carry doesn't get the pick that they wanted, are they going to be able to perform to that same level? That's something very, very intriguing to me.
Well, it's going to be the Vox going over to Cloud9. I think the key thing to bear in mind is if you're winning, and that's kind of the emotional state during the draft, you should be cool, calm, and collected at this stage. Kind of a little bit of animosity potentially between the team here for Tribe, but these are our compositions locked on in. What are our thoughts as we head towards this fourth game here?
Well, Adagio and Koshka put so much pressure early game, and in lane especially, I think Tribe's going to win the early game. As long as they continue that and don't make any mistakes, they can take this game.
All right, it's time for predictions. Got to do this one quick because we're ready to jump into game. Bacon, we'll start with you this time.
I think Tribe's got the momentum. Cloud9 looks shaken.
All right, Irakizari?
I'll go around and say Cloud9 just because Batiste Lyra should be able to hold off the Koshka.
All right, one apiece. Suijay, you're the decider.
It's going to be Tribe.
All right, 2 for Tribe. It's time to jump on into this one. It's time to pass it back up to Jaws and Excoundrel to kick off game number 4 of our semi-finals.
Thanks, guys, once again. Game number 4 is where it ended in the Unified Champions over in LA, but it was Cloud9 that were 2 games up. This time around, it is Tribe at the spearhead. Will it go to game number 5, or will Tribe take it right here, right now?
It felt like Tribe definitely predicted that the Vox was going to come out from C9. The pick that Tribe have talked about into Vox is this weapon power Adagio. Dienzio doesn't particularly like playing Adagio. He sort of let me onto that last time we were at the Unified Western Live Championships. But it is a good pick into Vox. They're going to have good early game control. And again, good early game control is what has allowed Tribe to snowball, taking Elder Trio on rotations, looking to get those forward camps away from Joseph. Talking to Physics, in between these games, she said, it's kind of in Joseph's head a little bit. He just needs to make sure that he keeps himself up in this jungle, make sure he resets himself and gets ready to combat on this early game.
We'll see how well they do in the early game, because it has been Tribe at the forefront. And T-Tigers, he is back on the Koshka. Game number 4, and we are on to the fold.
Joseph and Old School going to take these backs away. And again, Joseph, you know, he's not going to be awful against the Koshka early on. Batista's picked into Koshka quite often. Ordained shuts down her mobility, stops her getting super aggressive in the early game. So C9 need to be not afraid to take some of these early game trades against Tribe. Otherwise, Tribe just run away with all of that farm in the jungle. Over and over again, it's happened. Over and over again, they've claimed these early game advantages, and C9 haven't been able to recover. Obviously, we saw in the second game they made a massive, massive comeback, but it was such a deficit to work back from. That's like a 1 in every 50 games in Vainglory. You can't let that happen again, especially in such an important game for C9.
Elder Treant and Mexican standoff yet again. Joseph slings out a bad mojo. If they do group up like that, it's going to be a bit of an issue, as he will get into his passive. But Tribe and C9 just happy to back, it seems. Sigil spotting out T-Tiger, stopping the back for a brief moment. And once again, they just roam up to the lane.
Yeah, not willing to take an early game fight. They're actually going to reset quicker than they did last time. Not going to get drawn into denying their rotations. Joseph needs to focus this time on making sure he gets his jungle on rotation, keeps that farm up, and matches T-Tigers, because T-Tigers is just so good at that. Early minion candy again, just to try and put pressure onto Old School, push this lane in, try and make it difficult for him to farm. But then it has been responded to by C9 as well. They have their own.
Old School is going to have a little bit of trouble in this lane, especially with Max Green harassing him like that. But with the sustain coming out from Gabe Vizzle, first time we are seeing a Lyra in this series as well as the Adagio. So it's always good to see new picks come through. Gabe Vizzle was actually started with the Oak Heart there, as well as that Protector contract. T-Tigers and Joseph are going to meet each other once again on this Elder Treant. However, Joseph is taking the majority of the aggro. Both teams rotating down once again for the Mexican standoff.
Joseph didn't quite time his reap there, but it's good because Tribe are going to back off. Right, but what comes out straight away? Joseph then is going to go over to Tribe.
He went over to Tribe and went over to Dienzio of all people as well. He's going to receive that healing as he wanders back up to the lane.
Not a massive loss though. You can lose some early Elder Treants, and it's not the worst thing in the world. C9 just need to make sure they're matching Tribe, matching them in the middle so that Tribe don't take a massive advantage, and then look to push into Joseph's jungle, because that's where Joseph has been put under pressure, in especially those forward camps in his jungle.
I love the early use of the minion candy again coming through for Cloud9 and Tribe. They're able to just push this wave in and make sure Old School can farm in the middle of the lane. And it's a bit harder for DNZ actually to at last hit.
Lyra is going to alleviate some of these matchup problems for Old School. You know, Old School's basically DNZ is looking to get that Gift of Fire onto a minion to apply that debuff to Old School, then look to land some basic attacks, use that range advantage to force him out of lane. But Gabe Vizzle on Lyra is going to help alleviate that a little bit with the healing.
T-Tiger's doing what he loves best and taking those front doubles, and he is going to move his way to the Elder Treant as well. This is where it started for Tribe. They're going to go in for it. Sigil isn't going to quite take it, and that is once again getting taken by Dienzio. It's all looking reminiscent of the last 3 games of T-Tigers taking firm control so early on.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Dienzio getting the gold as well is going to help him hit item spikes. He's going to pick up very similar to Old School, actually. They are kind of on even keel at this point in time, both with a Poison Shiv and a light armor in tow. Dienzio spent a bit more on minion candy than Old School has, and Old School's going to have the boots in his favor right now. But again, everything, even just, you know, losing 2 Elder Treants is not the worst thing in the world for C9. At least they are contesting it and helping maintain control of their front camps, especially in the jungle. That is really the most important part of this game. Old School's going to get pressured, but there is the Bright Bulwark, and he'll get healed up as well.
That's going to be the biggest hindrance for Old School, for T-Tigers rather, in the early game, is that Bright Bulwark. Gabe Vizzle, as soon as he watches him jump in, you just pop it down, and it's extremely hard for T-Tigers to actually navigate to the front of the fight. Max Green's going to get stunned up by the Ordain. A lot of damage is going to land on him. Isn't going to go down just yet, but he is forced rather far back. Cloud9 taking the favor in that trade, but look at where T-Tigers is. It's actually moving to the backs of Cloud9 here. He knows where they're positioned. They're actually rotating down to the item shot now, which is open, so he's going to be able to steal away a little bit of farm here.
Haven't respawned yet. I think he might have just mistimed the respawn timers on them, but he's happy to wait around as that healing Treant comes to life. Joseph is there right now.
Joseph has spotted him, but T-Tigers is level 6. Ordained is going to stun. Old School's going to come through as well. T-Tigers is in a lot of trouble right now at the back camps. He's trying to duck, dip, dive, and dodge. Crystal Sentry is going to walk out of there as well. Here comes Old School. Bright Bulwark didn't quite land. He actually dips back in the bush to try and get a bit more damage on to Gold School. T-Tigers going very low. There's the Ordain, the stun. Torres not quite focusing, and the healing coming through from Dienzio is keeping him alive. However, Old School can't land the last basic attack, and he survives. Dienzio now in the front line, and that is a big heal coming onto Old School to keep him alive also, but Dienzio refusing to go down. He's actually just burning up alive. Old School now forced to retreat, and the last basic attack will land, and Dienzio once
once again finds first blood for Tribe.
It's one of these issues with Lyra when you don't pick up the Fountain first. Yes, you have that Crucible, but you don't have the team-wide sustain that the Fountain provides, and C9 took a fight when Max Green had that up and available. They regen back up, and the range of Dienzio on this Adagio was able to push Old School out of the fight once more. C9 put onto the back foot very early on. They're almost over, just over 1,000 gold behind. Very reminiscent of every game that we've seen in this series. Tribe just dominate from minute 1 to minute 8. It's all Tribe, all Tribe, all Tribe, and C9 just can't seem to cope with the pace.
There have always been very low kill games as well, coming up to the 10-minute mark. We normally see 1-2 kills go across to Tribe, then they take the first turret, and then Cloud9 slowly lose grip on the game, and they forfeit turret after turret after turret. And that one win they did manage to get was a complete turnaround. They were placed in that exact same situation in game number 3, where they could try and turn it around in the late game. It was just T-Tigers and Dienzio's ability to control the team fights on the sky. That was just, well, it sealed the deal on their victory.
Tribe pushing in now. They don't have a huge minion wave to work with, so they're not going to get a huge amount of damage onto the turret. In fact, they're just going to leave it as it is. Good scout trap placement. It's an interesting scout trap placement because it gives you vision control of that area of the Tribe Rush, but also just manages to catch onto the gold miner as well. So it's a kind of like a 2-for-1 scout trap there, and also because of the positioning is just a little bit different from what you usually see. Usually you place scout trap furthest away in that Tribe Rush to make it harder for the enemy to commit to take it down. Not a lot of people run over that area, so it maintains vision for a little bit longer just because of how different that scout trap placement can be.
Now Cloud9 taking the priority in the lane, and this is something we saw in game number 1, where they were just forcing the lane in and forcing up the melee composition that Tribe did draft up to towards the lane to try and defend the turrets. This time around, they are running this Adagio. First time we're seeing it in this series. It's very easy for Dienzio to actually just take out these minions, no problem whatsoever. However, the poking coming out from Joseph is only going to get stronger as he did pick up that Shatterglass moments ago.
Adagio will eventually fall off compared to Vox as this game progresses, though. You know, Adagio is supposed to be an early game oppressive carry that's supposed to put pressure onto the Vox. They know that T-Tigers could be behind them. T-Tigers is waiting in the wings, but Gabe Vizzle has spotted him out. They did manage to get through that scout trap. Oh, well, Old School runs right into the fray.
Oh, Holy Nova onto 3. There's the Sigil to heal him up. Old School goes down. A twirly death from T-Tigers does finish off the kill. Cloud9 caught. Wrong place, wrong time. Max Green takes advantage. Fearsome Shade used for the disengage, but that turret is going to fall once again. Tribe Gaming come up massive.
Old School just, that game, that second game, that resurgence was amazing from him, but pretty much the rest of the time, 75% of the time, he's been making these really odd movements that just aren't normal for him. He walked straight into Adagio there, almost face-checked them. It allowed Max Green to get a really good Holy Nova off, and then it allowed T-Tigers to make the flank. But he did that. He walked into them.
Breaking point now picked up for Old School, and that was the thing. They didn't have vision on that brush. Walked up into the brush, bam, Holy Nova, and that was really it. They are very hard to land as well, unless you land a Benediction, which does apply a small slow. Something that you want to avoid completely. And the burst damage, that's something we need to talk about as well from T-Tigers. Just jumping on Old School as he's got the debuff from Dienzio. Such an easy target to take out.
Yeah, and that Gifted Fire will slow Old School down as well. They probably even then pass over Agent of Wrath either to Dienzio himself or T-Tigers and just hit those hard-hitting basic attacks that dominate the early game. Those Agent of Wrath basic attacks will fall off as the game goes on, but Tribe, they have won their games in the early game, so they pick to facilitate that. And the Koshka and the Adagio are doing just that for Tribe right now. They're going to get an uncontested gold mine. They've extended that gold lead now to just over 4,000. And again, huge disadvantages for C9 to try and have to work back from.
There's the Ordain onto Dienzio. Takes a massive bad mojo. Forces Tribe to actually disengage here. Gabe Vizzle is level 7, so does have the passageway. No Bright Bulwark just yet. They are happy to just play at range with the chunk damage that Dienzio did take initially. T-Tigers now on the retreat.
They're going to push back into their own jungle, going for this forward triumph. We'll go over to T-Tigers once more, but C9 really desperate to look for a fight here as they force Tribe away. No one really only T-Tigers picking up shielding, so if you can get Isle of Joseph onto Dienzio, you should be able to put a decent amount of pressure on him. They are pretty low right now, and C9 seek an opportunity with a large minion wave. They're going to start a fight.
Yeah, Bright Bulwark used to actually snare up Max Green. He is forced to actually put the flask in that regard as well. Tribe, but very, very low. They're going to go in, though. Sigil to speed everybody up out of the fight. A flask is going to get used in a fountain as well. Nice fearsome shade, but it doesn't quite land as Max Green does block it. DNZO going very low. There's the Versus Judgment. No, the kill from T-Tigers. The twirly death before it even landed. 2 kills go over to Tribe.
It's so difficult when you're in this state of mind, C9, to come back from a team that looks like they're playing the best Vainglory of their life, and I tell you what, Tribe really, really are. It's just so difficult to get back into that headspace. It's going to be another one of those games where C9 have to come back from the brink of defeat. They've done it before, they can do it again. This is a championship team, a twice winning championship team. The twice unified Western Live Championship.
Tribe Gaming now.
C9 have to come back from the brink of defeat. They've done it before, they can do it again. This is a championship team, a twice winning championship team.
A lot of
the
teams
twice unified Western Live
Championship.
Championship.
Crystal Sentry this early, but Tribe Gaming now did take that Crystal Sentry away.
Well, Tribe are doing what C9
and again,
does, but they're just
asserting their pressure in the jungle.
Than C9 usually do. C9 generally.
A lot of teams we see in North America, they don't prioritize taking Crystal Sentry this early, but Tribe's game plan is win early and win quickly.
Well, Tribe are doing what C9 does, but they're just managing to execute a little bit earlier than C9 usually do. C9 generally come into the game at around 8 to 10 minutes, and that's where they start to dominate global objective. Tribe have been doing it 4 or 5 minutes before that, and C9 aren't quite able to cope with the pace. There's nothing wrong with the way that they drafted this game. They've got a great draft. It's just the execution, especially from Old School, who seems to be very hit or miss during the series. And he's also hit isn't quite there, and I've got to say, Tribe have been almost flawless. Almost every single game they have executed exactly the way they need to. The NZO has been unbelievably powerful in this. Every lane that he's picked up, he's had an excellent game with. And he's also hit that 3 items like the Sorrow Blade already picked up.
Yeah, like you said, 3 items. The Sorrow Blade, that is over Old School, who only has a weapon blade in his inventory. That gold mine is going to go down if Tribe are good with it. However, they're just going to jump straight onto Old School, the backline, force to put the boots and the reflex block for the shield. But this time around, as soon as they see Old School step up, 3 members jump in and he is forced to back off. They're going to flare them out, Cloud9 back to full HP from those sigils. DNZO gets caught up in the Ordain as well. The wait for it did come through. Old School trapped once more, but this time around, Joseph's on the other side of the map. There's the massive Yummy Cannon Frenzy, but it did get blocked in the end. But Old School, it doesn't matter. Ordain comes through and the Fearsome Shade does block him up, but DNZO manages to take out Joseph and Old School with the burn.
They do manage to stop the gold mine going down, though. They kind of achieved what they needed to. They got a kill. They shut down DNZO. That's worth a little bit of gold as well. Take a look here. C9 able to just regenerate off the back of a teamfight engage that didn't go their way. And again, every single time they put pressure onto Old School, they run him down with the Gift of Fire. DNZO looks to get into position for the basic attacks, but C9 with some good reflex blocks and bright bulwarks kite back towards their Crystal Sentry, which gives them a little bit of relief in that teamfight. They need to continuously do that, though. I mean, Old School needs defenses, but they are just so far behind in gold. DNZO at 3 item spike is starting to hit like a truck. He's at that major power spike. The strongest that he's going to be this game is right now. And Tribe are looking to execute every team fight to take advantage of that.
That's an interesting scenario. You've kind of put Cloud9 in there. They have to retreat to that Crystal Sentry to get the 0.5 of a man and the damage and the slow that it does put out in order to aid them to win these team fights. Tribe have been focusing that Crystal Sentry consistently throughout this entire series, making sure that's not a factor when it comes to fighting in the jungle. Goldmine is going to get started up yet again. T-Tigers jumping over the wall. Oh, Pouncy Fun is he's not going to be able to use it at the moment because Ordain is going to just lock him up in place. But Old School already third HP already falls down to a twirly initiating on DNZO. A little bit too late, you've got to say. Disgusting damage.
Takes the passageway backwards and he ends up falling. That's going to be an ace for Tribe.
DNZO's waiting in the wings.
Oh, he's waiting in the wings. Yummy Cannon Frenzy is going to get blocked again. They're still going to go for the retreat. Joseph already falls down to a twirly death. Bright Bulwark a little bit too late, you've got to say. Vizzle takes the passageway backwards and he ends up falling. That's going to be an ace for Tribe as T-Tigers and DNZO clean the rest up.
And the Tribe Gaming, forever the bridesmaid, never the bride throughout the entire year in the Unified Western Live Championships and the North American VGA, came from a challenger team to a potential world champion, then they look like they're playing like a world champion right now. This is just simple execution again. Every time Cloud9 step up, they jump in, gift of fire down, and they burst whoever has that gift of fire debuff on them. As soon as someone's down, it's so difficult to peel against what the aggression that Tribe have, and they continue to pressure those carries. But it's just a single target burst coming out from Tribe. They find a target that they burst, and they take them down very quickly. And then they do that when the skills are up again. They replicate that when the cooldowns are down. And with no defenses to speak of, really, for C9, they go down super quickly.
It is crazy to think that Cloud9 have struggled to crack the first turret in every single one of these games. They are finally just backing off, it seems, just trying to make sure they can get as much minion pressure in the lane as possible in order to chunk down that turret that is so close to going down. The one win that they did have was a complete reverse sweep of the turrets. They were down to one turret, and that was on a minuscule, like a couple of pixels of HP, and they were able to turn it around completely and annihilate every single turret. This time around, if they can pull that off again, which will again rely on Old School actually getting these fights and stacking up using the breaking point. But right now, Tribe, full domination, full control, and they're back in control of the gold as well. 9,000 in the lead at 16 minutes. It's 9-1. They finally took the gold miner also, but Kraken's on the board.
I don't know if Tribe end up winning this game, it will be a complete reversal of the Unified Western Live Championships where Cloud9 beat Tribe 3-1. They certainly look in control. They're going straight for the Kraken. C9 are not even at their 3-item spikes for Old School right now. I don't know if they can contest. They learned their lesson, I think, from those gold mines that they tried to contest earlier. They might just have to give this away. Kraken gets unleashed. It's going to start to push down towards C9's base. It'll have to be a heroic defense once more from the Cloud9 squad. They've done it once before in this semi-final. Can they do it again, Jaws?
Tribe are just transcending at the moment. Their gameplay feels absolutely pristine, something you mentioned last game in game number 3. They have the range this time though. They have D'Enzio outranging this Old School on this box. Right now, it's going to be a miracle, it seems, for Cloud9 to defend this choke point turret. Should easily go down. D'Enzio is just going to be able to chunk it out from range. Even Max Green stepping and T-Tiger stepping up to the plate. It falls. Choke point turret down. 2 turrets remain. And they will be going towards the finals as well.
Need a heroic defense now.
Building as the Warthogs do get popped. They are going to go in for this engagement. What goes down? Wait for it as well. It's only going to silence one. Big fear coming through as well, but that miss of Fountain is going to heal them up. The first turret ends up falling. Cloud9 need a heroic defense now. Holy Nova does get blocked up as well. T-Tiger's actually going to focus the turret, but meanwhile on the sideline, D'Enzio is 1v2ing. Joseph can't quite take him down. The Kraken is just going to knock on the base. They finally kill Old School. He ends up falling over. Joseph burning alive as well. T-Tigers, he's going to get feared up. Same with Max Green, but the Kraken is on their side. Tribe take the game. They take the series, and they are going to the finals tomorrow.
Tribe Gaming, it has been a huge story for them this year to come from the Challenger Series all the way up to a potential world champion. You have got a caliber of young player on this team that I don't think the North American VGA has seen in quite a while. C9 have been so dominant for so long. They were the North American team of this year. They were the ones that all of your bets would have been hedged on. But Tribe came in so confident. They had huge amount of confidence from D'Enzio, especially coming into this tournament. And it means so much to these teams. See how much the World Championships means to both of these teams. Emotions are absolutely everywhere right now, but both teams fought so well, Jaws.
History has rewritten itself, like you mentioned.
This series just proved why
Tribe take it 3-1.
Either Impunity or Ace Gaming.
It's an emotional series. You can see it on Cloud9's faces. But Tribe, really, their gameplay this series has just proved why they're one of the best teams in North America. And they will be facing either Impunity or Ace Gaming. Whoever wins that game later on today in the finals tomorrow.
See how much it means to Cloud9 to not make it to the World Finals, but they should hold their heads high. They have been twice the best team in the Western Hemisphere. They have beaten North America, beaten Europe, and sometimes in competition this just happens. Sometimes it's about how you play on the day. Sometimes it's about that singular series. You can't be the best 100% of the time. Sometimes you're going to make a mistake, but Tribe, they have been been amazing this tournament. Cloud9 truly were tested. Both teams need to keep their heads up, obviously going into the finals with Tribe, but Cloud9 especially this year. They had a great year. It's a shame not to get the cherry on the top, but the cake they've had has been so sweet.
Dienzio as well has been such a standout player for Tribe. Just seems uncontested in the lane, coming up against Old School. And he's just shown a variety of things as well. Not only the Adagio, his Rona has been spectacular also.
The breadth of heroes that Dienzio can play is incredible. He came, like I said, from last year being this standout new player, young guy, and now he is a veteran of the North American VG scene. He has worked so hard to get to this position. He's had his ups and downs. His team has had their ups and downs. But gelling together with T-Tigers and Max Green. I mean, Dienzio is one thing, but Max Green and T-Tigers are two of the best in their role as well. People were saying to Max Green, this guy is an unbelievable talent coming out of the captain position. He has been incredible, and T-Tigers has once again proven that he is probably the best jungler in the world. Not even probably, he might just be the best jungler in the world. He has been a pleasure to watch.
His control as well of the jungle over Cloud9. The camps, he just stole away time and time again. He was just permanently in their side of the jungle. It's almost impossible for Cloud9 to get an ear in at all. Koshka seems like a must-ban, in all honesty, against him, because his sheer aggression early on is something really to be matched.
It is tough. These kind of losses are always heartbreaking. You know, I almost had tears in my eyes watching those Cloud9 guys. They have been so good, but Tribe today were just better. And Tribe will eventually go on to the finals tomorrow to face either Impunity or Ace Gaming. Both of them, I'm sure they are ready to take on, but it will be no mean feat. Tribe have got to keep their heads in the game. They could be the first North American official Vainglory World Championships.
We'll have to wait and find out if that's the case. We are going to throw to an interview down on the stage. You guys can take it away.
Hey guys, what's up? We're here right now with T-Tigers and Dienzio. They're even holding that how to beat Cloud9 tarp right there. I was wondering, did that work?
I'm sorry, but I didn't buy any scouts this tournament, so I don't know.
Wow, they did buy any scout drops in this tournament. But anyway, going back to that series, Cloud9 has been dominating since day number 1. What was your mindset coming into this series?
I think we knew that C9